Wow, that was a delay.
It was.
And just like that, we are back with another review of the hit, even though a lot of y'all just hate me every time I say hit, but the hit HBO show, just like that.
Oh, look at
And
you
I am here.
abandoned.
Man, look, I'm trying to get myself together here. And I'm here with my beautiful co-host. Yeah, I didn't do everything else this time because I couldn't remember everything. I'm not gonna lie about it.
I see.
Like, hey, me being sober, my memory is going. I don't know. I need to talk to a doctor about that. I thought it was supposed to be the opposite way around here. But my
Sir.
awesome co-host, Amaya Desire, even under the weather, she still comes on here to give y'all the hottest news about just like that.
The hottest.
Hey, the hot takes. That's what we're here for. Just strict hot takes here. Now we are on episode 7 because look, I am the person I am. I completely forgot to get the exact name of this episode because it's just like HBO just to give us episode and not give us the names of these episodes.
Wait, this
one is called Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered.
Yeah, this is 8 for us.
Yes, episode 8. So let's get the biggest thing out the way. There's no need to pay attention to Carrie in this entire episode. She does nothing. She has awesome clothes. As Aretha Franklin would say, gowns, beautiful gowns. That's all we really get from her in this episode. So we can attempt to go. Matter of fact, let's start with Carrie to get her out the way because that's the least interesting part of this episode. So we open it up with her going through her closet and going through her years of wardrobes. Her and Seema have an amazing conversation with one another and just shows just how their friendship is growing. What did you think about not just that scene, but just Carrie in whole in this episode, especially with her dealing with her neighbor? She sees a penis. It was one too many penises in this episode.
How many penises did we see in this episode?
We saw two. And I was not happy about either one of them. But
I definitely was not paying attention because I missed the second penis. I only saw the first. So
Harry?
We didn't see his penis.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
I'm gonna need you to go back. I'm traumatized by
it. I didn't see no penis.
Yeah, I'm traumatized by it. So I'm gonna need you to go back and see it. But what did you think about Carrie this episode?
I thought it was playful.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it was just showing her in everyday life versus like something specific happening. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the, going through the closet and the just having those moments of memories and sharing those with Seema. And of course, my favorite scene for her is the ending when she's sitting in the window in the Versace gown. And I'm thinking like, one day I'm gonna have me a Versace gown. I'm gonna sit in the goddamn window. Okay, that's one of the goals.
Well, I mean, for this whole episode, I think it kind of felt like her purging a lot of her oldness in her life and getting rid of things and understanding that, with time comes change. With change just becomes me.
Yeah.
The clothes correlated with her situation with her neighbor when they're constantly calling her ma'am, and she's like, but I'm not that old. But yet you're going through all, as she said at the beginning, my 20s, my 30s, and my 40s in his closet. So it just shows the progression of life here. And I thought that was handled well. It wasn't that much for her to do this episode.
No, I think that's cool. It was just a relaxing episode for her.
But I guess it's just because the way the episode opened up. They let you know from the beginning the character that you're going to be dealing with the most in this episode. From the beginning of the episode, they let you know that. But we're not going to get into Miranda yet. We're going to jump directly into Charlotte, which again,
that poor girl's forehead. I want to slam a door that hard that it's maybe not a kid, but I want to slam a door so hard, and that person is so close to the door that it smacks them in the head. No, I'm joking. Charlotte in this episode, I think, was also playful. Mm-hmm. I would go and say that both her and Carrie were playful in this episode, although Charlotte's piece was heavier, of course. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that scene with her and Harry in the bathroom, I really enjoyed that. I think I more so enjoyed the banter around it when she was sharing with Carrie and Miranda, and they're like, "You're doing what? Like, why? Is he dying? You know, is it his birthday?" And I'm thinking, like, okay, I don't want to be that when I get older. Like, I don't want to be like because it's his birthday, which I understand some people do, but yeah, not necessarily for me. But I think that she just her and then wanting to have the conversations with Lily about the, you know, the body. And one thing I will say is I think that Charlotte is very delicate in a way to where how she has these conversations with her kids.
Yes.
I feel like she's compassionate all the way around. She's concerned, but she's not overbearing too much. She has normal parent reactions to what I think.
Yeah.
But she's not OD, right?
Yes.
She's not like tripping as we used to say, because clearly that's not a thing anymore. So
well, now it's throwing shade, as Charlotte told you.
Yeah.
She brought that up because she said this is what my kids say. But again, it was an interesting dynamic for her to have to talk about giving oral sex to her husband and for them to act like, I wanted to ask you that. You kind of answered, but I really wanted to know, is that a thing for women as you get older? That
to talk about
not
sex like that?
Not to talk about it, but like it's just delegated to like special event. Or like,
oh no, I've heard that. That's what I said. I've heard people tell stories like that, like, oh, I only give him head when it's his birthday, or like, you know, it's a special occasion, like an anniversary. As people have gotten older, I know, you know, I have friends who don't give head at all, so we not going to venture down that road. But I thought it was interesting. I mean, they're 55 years old, so I would assume they're not just putting, you know, they might not be on their knees because that they have 55-year-old knees, unless they have exceptional 55-year-old knees. But yeah, I thought it was weird that, but I'm going based off the reaction. Carrie and Miranda obviously were not giving head to their husbands at any point in time, unless it was a birthday or anniversary, which is sad.
Weird for a show based off of Sex in the City.
Yeah, they lack sex in their lives. Enough all people, Charlotte, to have the amazing sex life. It's very interesting.
And still keep stuff spicy, and yet we have Carrie's like, and you still do this? Like it threw me off. And I know for a lot of people it may not ring true to the character, because they're wondering like, well, when did she become this old where that would be just something that you wouldn't explore with your partner? Again, this is not like this was a random guy. This was
your husband.
This is Charlotte's husband. Like, why would that at all be a shock? And then from that, we go into the situation between her and Lily, which I thought was one of the best parts of this episode. Not the banging on the door as Lily walks in and she tells her that she's checking her father's penis for cancer. But that is a good job by Charlotte. Quick on her feet to come up with, oh no, he may have cancer. That's the only reason I had it in my hand, because he has cancer. But just everything that happened after the fact between her and Lily, and she discovers Lily's phone when they go out to eat, and she sees the picture. And amazingly, we go from Charlotte talking about how she wanted to talk more about sex with Lily to make her more comfortable, unlike the way she grew up being around her parents when talking about sex. And the moment she sees Lily in a kind of risky photo, not really, it was athleisure. It was Lululemon that she had on, but she sees that and then she completely overreacts about it.
Yeah.
What did you think about just that whole setup of her talking about wanting to be more open with sexuality with her kids, but then the moment she's presented with a chance to be, she completely shuts down?
I think that it's, like I said, it's a normal reaction, right? It's not too over the top, but it's just enough concern to say like, well, who are you posting these photos for? And, you know, and who's this guy, Cal 55 or whatever, that liked the photo or commented? I think that's natural. You know, those are natural spaces to be in, as far as what it looks like for parents who are, you know, just concerned about what their kids are doing sexually. So I think that's natural. And like I said, I'm glad it wasn't over the top, although she kind of I want to say she was like, she wasn't extreme, but she was like right under the, like just right at the bar,
right at
like,
the threshold of it.
yeah, right at the threshold. She was almost at the, across the line, but she didn't. And I kind of like that. And I actually just liked, going backwards for a second, I like that Harry could say, like, seal the deal. The whole exchange between them was really cute. It's something that I would probably do. Because when you're married and you're in love and you still love that person, there's love in the marriage. There's just things that feel natural, that you would want to do for the person that you're married to and in love with.
Which is a great thing. And that's why when we talked about it last week about which married couple seemed to have the best relationship, I was thinking of Charlotte and Harry, because one, they are completely honest and they're still having fun with one another.
Yeah.
From her telling him to wear a fitness ring, which I did not know existed.
Give
a ring that could track your fit. There's no way. No. And for him, like, well, you need to ask me properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because clearly I'm planning on being engaged too, with a woman getting down on her knee. So it was just an amazing thing to see, that just the humor that still exists in their relationship. And then you get the dynamic of her and Lily dealing with each other. Again, as you said, she was right there from blowing it completely out of proportion, but then she knew to pull back.
Yeah,
she understood that, you know what, Lily needs space, I need space. Of course she can stay with you, Carrie, just because we need that. We need the separation. Because you need to get perspective. Because as she said, I was just shocked that that was you. I didn't expect it to be you. I didn't expect you to be so far advanced. But even though, Lily's 15, young people at 15 are doing a lot more than just wearing athleisure and posting it on Instagram. Yeah, so it's just that realization that, one, the kids are growing up, two, that she has to adjust to it. And even down to the end, when she asked Lily, do you know what we were really doing? And Lily's like, yeah, well, does Dad have cancer? Like, she could. So it's affirming to Charlotte, she actually didn't see anything. It was more of just a thought of her catching you that way, and it made you lie. Well, maybe if you would have been honest about it, a lot of this stuff, maybe she could come out and tell you, hey, like, I took these pictures, but I'm doing this for myself. Instead of you thinking and fearing that she's doing it for someone else. And speaking of doing something for someone else, Miranda. As I said, at the beginning of the episode, we kind of knew exactly the direction we were going into. And at the beginning of this episode, we see Miranda at an LBGTQ plus
parade.
I was just trying to get everything out. I knew it was a plus at the end of it too, to add everybody else in there. But we see at the beginning of the parade with Che on stage, and Che saying basically, don't hide yourself. Don't live in the dark, live in the open. As we see Miranda sneaking off because she's terrified that her son is going to catch her at this rally with Che, which still makes no sense because that don't mean her son would think that they're together. But what did you think from the beginning of this episode with Miranda?
I thought that was stupid of her because apparently, you know what I mean? Like in the scene, Che said, like, with allies or people that support us. So it wasn't even like
it gave you the out.
Thinking about, and look, you know how they have that saying, was like, ain't nobody thinking about you, right? Like, girl, was not nobody thinking about you, Miranda. Like, just chill, okay? It ain't that serious. But yeah, I thought that it was funny, and it just showed how insecure she was, how out of place she felt, and also just how she felt uncomfortable because she had to come clean to Steve. I think it was that part, the part that she was like, well, I can't be here because then my son might think this, and then go back and tell Steve that. But I just really think it was about her being uncomfortable and uncertain.
Well, then the bigger question I got to ask, because this is something that happened later on when she meets back up with Che again, as we find out that Che this whole time thought Miranda had an open marriage and didn't understand, like, no, you're the other person and I'm cheating on my husband with. What did you just think about, or go into what you think Che's mindset was in that situation and her reaction to it? Because I think that surprised people, because she seems free and liberated. They would have assumed she would have no issue with that. And she was dead set on, no, that's not cool.
I think that free and liberated does not mean that the person won't respect and uphold commitments and like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that, but I think that she's not a rule breaker sense of disrespecting other people's relationships, right? And so I think that that's where she was uncomfortable. She said, no, I will not be the other person. If you cannot be with me, or you can't be honest with the person that you're with, then this can no longer happen. But I love that she set those boundaries, and as soon as she found out, I'm glad that she spoke her piece. I'm glad that she made it extremely clear. And I was pretty damn happy because I'm like, listen, tell her, okay, Miranda need to get her shit together. So yeah.
Which leads to the biggest part of the episode, the conversation we've been waiting to have happen. And the thing to dig the deepest to in this episode, and that's the conversation between Miranda and Steve. First, let me ask you, did you like the point that she said to do this up over their weekly dessert? Which, didn't even know that was a thing to have a weekly dessert.
I mean, I wasn't gonna care when or how she did it, to be quite honest. In the sense of like, it could be during their allotted time together, or whenever she just felt comfortable and whenever it felt right to her. But it was, I don't know. You know what I will say? I'm not a fan of Miranda's tone with Steve. I'm not a fan of how she talked to him. I'm not a fan of how she treated him. And even watching that scene made me hate her more than I already hated her in the previous two, episodes. I just felt like she could have been more caring and compassionate, especially since they've been with each other for so long. So yeah.
But with the speech between them two, not just from Miranda's side, but from Steve's side, when Miranda's telling him, I need more, I want more. And yet you have Steve on the other end basically saying, I'm content. Like you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. We're finally in a place where you're neither, and I'm fine with that. Like, what is your reaction to the point that it seems like he's basically telling her, when your emotions are not involved, when you no longer care about anything in our relationship, that's when I'm the most comfortable with you. Because I thought with that speech was kind of the reason why Miranda had to leave. Because if you're going to be with someone who's extremely content on just, as he said, sitting down, coming home to one another, sitting down, eating ice cream, sitting on the sofa, if that's all that you're looking forward to, I don't see how that can work with someone else, unless that person is identical to you and that's all they want. But if that person wants a little more, you can't be in a relationship with them or a marriage with them.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that Steve is just one of those homebody chill people that they don't need a lot. They just need their person, if that makes sense, right? So like, just because you don't want to go skiing or go skydiving or whatever the case is, doesn't mean you're not a person of excitement. Your excitement is just different things. Your excitement level is just it comes differently. And so for me, I understood my thing. I still feel like Miranda didn't try. And when I hear her talking in this scene, it's like I. There was no. I wonder if there was a we know that there wasn't a conversation beforehand, right? So you've been married, let's say 15 years. By the year 10, things are starting to get a little dull and dry or redundant for you. Why would you wait until year 15 to now say something after you meet somebody? I feel like had she not met Che, I don't know if any of this would be happening. That's my biggest thing, is that she's literally, in the last 3 weeks, you fell in love with somebody, you're in love with somebody, you love somebody. Not saying that it can't happen, but it seems very lustful. It doesn't seem like love. And it's just something about it I just don't like it. And I think it's probably because I could hear, first of all, I can't remember his name, but Steve was so phenomenal. The actor himself was so phenomenal in this scene. You can feel like his his sorrow, his passion, his love, his sadness. Like you could feel all of that in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I wouldn't have expected anything less for him to say, you know, I want you to be happy and I am okay with this. And if you're not, then that's okay too. The idea that he was like, I'm just not in a space to fight for us no more. I kind of don't think Miranda needed to rebuttal that. You could have just let that be, right? The whole thing of like, I don't need you to, or I don't want you to. I don't know. It just came off very insensitive, you know, the way she dropped the whole, you know, when he says like, I don't know what you think is out there. And she goes, well, I met somebody. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I hate Miranda right now.
But if we think about it, how is it if you're telling the person or someone you've been married to, or even someone you've been in a long-term relationship, like, I need to end this, I'm no longer happy, and then they respond with, I don't know what else you think is out there. That to me came across as him telling her, I'm as good as you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
That to me, that was an ego-driven comment.
I mean, but yes and no. Well, yes. They're 55, 60, yeah. Right? Like, I'm just rounding them up. They 60, yeah. Right? So what? I think in his head he was like, what? I mean, the question, because maybe he's thinking that about himself too. Like, I don't know what's out there. Like, what do you think is out there? Like, did you know? And so, I think while it was ego, it was also like, well, if we separate, if we do this, if we divorce, mm-hmm. Like what the hell am I gonna find out there at 55, 60 with two goddamn hearing it, bad knee, and out, you know, and finger sex? I'm just trying to figure it out. Like, ain't nothing out here for me.
Yeah, it was just the conversation between them two on the couch was very telling on the way they both view relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just couldn't imagine being in a relationship where you tell me all we looking forward to is getting home, and he said, and we just talk about Braden. So if all we have, it's one of the classic things we always talk about with married couples. If all you have to discuss is your kid,
yeah,
you two shouldn't be together,
right?
Because it's nothing else there. I think
I agree.
And maybe, unfortunately, by it not being anything else there, it left the door open for Miranda to find something else. And then once that door is open for someone to find someone else, and I'm not in any way excusing her behavior once finding mm-hmm. something else, mm-hmm. but once it leaves the door open for you to find something else, it kind of becomes easier for you to fall for that person.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I just feel like Miranda knew. Listen, when you get on a roller coaster, right, and you go up, you can feel that pull, right? You're going mm-hmm. up, you're going up, you're going up. And then when your eyes are getting ready to go down, you feel that tug, that push, that you getting ready to go down. So you knew that there was pushing happening. There mm-hmm. was tugging happening. My biggest thing with Miranda is not saying anything before meeting Che, because I have to think that, like, the only reason why we're here is because not did you meet Che, but you had an amazing finger bang session, and now you're
open to the stars.
So,
but I think it just goes both ways there. Like, again, you never want to leave the door open for the person you're with to meet someone else.
That something was wrong. Then if we're two completely different people in a relationship, and you want excitement, and I'm okay with monotony, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything is wrong. But you should know your partner enough to see when they're drifting, to see when something has shifted, when something has changed.
Yes.
So you should be in tune enough to say, something is wrong. Miranda's look like she's doing, a lot more online shopping. She's this, she's that.
Mm-hmm.
So I will agree that he too could have said something, or he
even down to her having a drinking problem as it pertained to this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was attempting to deal with it by self-medicating, thinking, if I could drink my way through this marriage,
right?
I could drink my way until we're both no longer here. Mm-hmm. I think she said it perfectly when he said, but we're old, and she said, no, we're 55. Do you want to do this for another 30 years?
Yeah.
Like that is a hard-hitting thing to come to realization when that person is that far bored. But it also brings the question, as Steve pulls up, if she's always this way, you kind of knew what you got yourself into. So I know people want to feel bad for Steve, and I was more upset with the way Miranda handled it. I don't feel bad for Steve because he kind of knew what he was getting himself into.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him, but the same can be said about her. They both knew
exactly
who each other were before they got into this marriage. And you have to, this in this particular space, I will use that phrase, choose better, because I hate that phrase. But as it pertains to this situation, with them two, you have to make sure that the personalities match. And if personalities don't match, then this should not have ever been a walk down the aisle, right? So in this particular moment, they could have, or in this particular situation, they could have chosen better. You know, this is one of those things where it's like you did it for the kid, you did it out of comfortability, you know, because it felt like, okay. And you get to the space and you're like, yeah, no, this is not it for me.
See, and that's something I have to ask everyone who watches us here, because I can't remember off the top of my head. When Miranda and Steve decided to really commit to one another, was it just because she was pregnant?
That's a good question.
I think it was. I just can't fully remember. Because again, if so, then to me, they managed to close this chapter out pretty damn good. If they only were together because of the kid, and now we see this kid is grown, so he's no longer the focal point. Right. And when it reverted back to them two being a focal point, how things weren't working anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I just can't remember. And I know you all who love Sex and the City but hate this show, let us know. You'll let us know. And if that is the case, then you all would know, like, this was inevitable that they would go down this path. Once that child gets older and he's no longer there for you to fawn over, you got to deal with each other.
Yep.
And they never really liked each other that much.
Exactly. I agree.
So, to end the episode here, we're going to end it on one question. What did you think about Miranda, before even talking to Steve, going to Che to confirm that Che wanted more out of this? And then, with her at the end of the episode saying she's in a rom-com, and she decides that I'm going to hop on this plane and go to Cleveland. Like, cue Mariah Carey song, look, well, you will always be my baby, like as she's in the cab.
Have fun, girl. I hope that they ain't in bed and or doing anything they should.
Okay, so you thought exactly what I thought.
Because when they said that I cannot give you
a traditional. Yep.
In my mind, that meant an open relationship. That meant that I would probably more than likely want to see other women or other theys, which is other them. Maybe that's not how that's said, but you get the point. So yes. I'm amped to see this next episode. I'm ready. I'm gonna have some wine next time. I had to drink my water today, but next time I'm gonna have some wine because this gonna be interesting.
Especially,
and I definitely like that Carrie posed that question to her. I think oftentimes, more than not, we do get head over heels for somebody, and we don't know if the feeling is mutual or reciprocated, and we're afraid to ask. And so I like that, one, Carrie posed the question, but two, Miranda was courageous enough to ask, because you got to put yourself out there and be willing to take whatever comes back to you.
Especially since you're about to blow up your life.
Yeah.
If you're going to blow up your life, you better have confirmation that person you're blowing your life up for actually wants to be with you.
Yeah.
Because if they don't want to be with you, you're going to screw up everything, and then you're going to be left alone, which is the fear. As Carrie said with her in this episode, when Miranda said, at times I would have just left and been by myself and been alone. And Carrie said, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of And Just Like That. Lucas and Amaya. Again, tune into us Thursday at 4 a.m. That's when these episodes drop. And again, leave comments. Let us know what you think. Not about the show, but about what we do. Because we know what y'all think about the show. Hey, you can hate watch it with us. That's perfectly fine. We have no
Right.
issue at all with that. But again, let us know what you thought about Miranda's storyline here. Let us know what you thought about Carrie and Lily. Carrie and Lily.
Yeah.
And that bonding that they're doing over the clothes with Carrie and Charlotte and Lily
Yeah.
about them dealing with her body and sexual
Sexuality.
situations.
Mhm.
Even Charlotte and Harry and how it is to be in your 50s, or as Amaya say, in your 60s,
Still getting it in.
and still being
Still
eventually still like willing to risk it all in an unlocked bathroom door in the house that you could have just locked the door so no one could come
The door
into.
was open, but first of all, you walk through your parents' bedroom and into their walk-in closet and then into the bathroom. Child, please.
Well, this is the caucasity of it all.
Hello?
Because there is no way.
None. Okay.
Even if my mama bedroom door was open, I'm not even getting in there. Exactly.
Get out of here.
Well, again, thank you for checking us out.
Yes.
Peace, people.